I got hoes, I got hoes in different area codes, hoes. I got hoes in different codes, area codes. Why is that song in my spirit? I don't know. I haven't even turned over the cards yet. So you know better than me, Patreon, because you already seen the cards. And YouTube, you don't know better than me, but you're about to know what I know when I know it, because that's fair. You know what I'm saying? So our concern, opportunity, obstacle, and advantage diversion cards is the Tarot of Gemstones and Crystals by, what is his name? It's so shady they don't put his name on the front page. This is what happens when you publish your deck with a conglomerate. They don't want to give you credit. It is by Helmut G. Hoffman. Okay. So thank you, Helmut G. Hoffman, for the beautiful photos and the writing. I don't even know if you took the photos, so thank you for the writing. And then our key card is coming from the deck of character by Hannah, who might have changed their last name. I don't know. Hannah, and I don't think I've ever said it right, but it's Eastern European from what I can recall. And this is a deck of character. And it's broken into tools, places, and characters, and we got a place. So we're going to see what the July reading has to say to us. What was the bottom of the deck? Baby Angel. That's a good bottom of the deck for the key card. That's a good omen, okay? And, you know, just in case you thought, like, a hoe isn't a bad thing. As long as a hoe is hoeing consciously, intentionally and purposefully, a hoe is not a bad thing. It's bad if you don't want to be a hoe, but you've been made into a hoe. It's not bad if you want to be a hoe and you as a hoe. Okay. Consent. Okay. So let's get into this reading. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Let's flip them and dip them. For July 2023, the year of the chariot, we have the Star for a concern card. Pretty interesting. The Hero. Oh, I knew it as soon as I saw it. Hold on. The Hierophant. I was like, where did the name go? Wow, it literally disappeared. The Hierophant, which is my card in the tarot deck. Okay. Meaning like it's a card that other readers always pull for me, for that always comes up around me to be like, is you on your path? We have the Hierophant. That's two major arcanas for the concern and the opportunity obstacle. So we are making spiritually energetic moves in July. And then the advantage aversion is the Six of Wands. Decidedly different, kind of nice, all things considered. We'll turn over the key card last. If you're on Patreon, you know the future. You know what the key card is. I don't know what it is. If you're on YouTube, you don't know the future, and you're just gonna have to figure it out with me. Trust your guide. Trust your guide on your guide. Okay, so we start with the Star. Moldavite in this beautiful crystals and tarots deck. Look at that. Look. Up, bitch. Okay, so for the major arcana to come up for the concern for July, as well as the opportunity obstacle. Okay, like I'm not an astrology reader, but we know astrologically that Neptune went retrograde today. I felt it. I don't know if it's being a Pisces, but it wasn't cute, and I accept it because I think Neptune is retrograde. No, I don't know what Neptune is retrograde in. I know that Saturn will be retrograde in Pisces, and I know that Venus will be retrograde in Leo. All this this is happening in July. Let me see real quick what. Oh, Neptune is retrograde in Pisces too. So we're gonna have Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Pisces in July, and we're also gonna have Venus retrograde in Leo. Now, as a Pisces, I've only dated 1-2 Leos in my life, okay? So I can't speak much to the compatibility of those signs, although I will say that like there was kinesthesia, right? There was connection and stuff. But what I will say is like, for the star to come up for July, to me, this is very much speaking to, not obviously the most obvious way you could be is like pursuing your dreams, reaching for the stars, aspiring. But I also think it's like in this context, because it's the spiritual purpose and the life purpose, it's a major arcana that has to do with like where you are, who you are, and what you are in the universe, to the universe, in relationship with the universe before all of the things, because there's no relationship with anything else without the universe as we know it. And so like the star is coming up to say, like, what is your purpose, right? What is your calling? And that doesn't have to be a singular answer. It doesn't have to be one thing. It doesn't have to be the same thing forever and ever. And it doesn't have to be a complete statement, okay? But I do think, excuse me while I find my chapstick, thank you. But I do think what's really important about this aspect, especially followed up by the Hierophant for the concern, sorry, for the opportunity obstacle. So like we know, or maybe you don't, but the opportunity obstacle is like, how are we treating the concern? Are we treating it as a stepping stone? Are we treating it like a roadblock? While I hydrate and vanitize. Okay, so are we treating it like a stepping stone? Or are we treating it like a roadblock, okay? And then of course it can go both ways because everybody's different. But with the star being the concern, what is objectively going on? What is subjectively, objectively going on? I mean, what is subjectively, objectively going on is that you have your interests, you have your passions, and like, if you are not willing to acknowledge that, then you will feel like a passenger in your own life. You also, I mean, as things get progressively more, what's the word? Polarized, what's the word? As things get progressively more polarized, right? High highs and low lows. We're going to be dealing with a lot of shock and upheaval and circumstances that sort of take us off guard, where being on guard is having expectations or assumptions about the way things are and finding those expectations and assumptions are met. So that won't be happening in the typical way, right? But with the star being here, it's really, to me, asking like, are you going to admit to yourself what you are here to be? I was going to say do, but what you are here to be, like how you are here to exemplify, how you are here to reflect, how you are here to personify, how you are here to embody, how you are here to purpose. And and I think this is almost like a call to capitalism, right? Because especially as shit hits the fan and people get more and more scared or more and more distrusting of the status quo or the way things are, then we get into a situation where like the foundations that have built your personality, people, places, things, ideas, linear temporal consistencies, when those things sort of go belly up, aka die, which is what belly up means, when those things die, there can be a lot of I was going to say the opposite of cohesion, which in my mind was discohesion, but there can be a lot of lack of cohesion that takes place in that situation, where you are then placed in a circumstance where you're like, okay, well, who am I now in relation to all these things that not only I didn't plan, but I didn't expect, and that I have, resistance to, negativity to, or just don't prefer, and because I wasn't expecting them, right? But also, obviously, we can be pleasantly surprised. It's not just about negative surprises, but it is very much here about like when things progressively get more polarized, it's very important that you know what your purpose is to yourself so that you can fulfill that purpose to yourself. It doesn't mean that, I mean, obviously we need each other and we're in a community and there's a lot going on there, but like what your purpose is to yourself doesn't need to require anybody. And what I mean by that is like, if you want to be a great singer, if you want to be a great helper, if you want to be a great artist, if you want to be a great politician, if you want to be a great, service provider of any kind, like you might imagine that that greatness is determined by how many people speak or state their appreciation with their voices or their words, right? You might think about how people show their appreciation through their money, right? Through you being resourced. You might think how people pay their appreciation by attention, right? Like there could be all of these things going on when it comes to you being in your purpose or great at something. You know, you can get reflections and feedback that says, oh, you're so great, or that says nothing at all. And I think that it's really important in this case, the way these cards are showing up, to emphasize that, like, as long as you, in the feedback that you're getting to yourself with reasonableness, are fulfilling your purpose, meaning like I'm working, if I want to be a famous, and I don't even know if your purpose can be to be famous. I don't know if that makes sense, but your purpose can be to be a great singer, and great singers can be famous. Not all great singers are famous, okay? Probably most great singers never were heard by other people outside of the village, outside of the shower, outside of the woods, okay? But like, if your intent is to be a great singer, then everything you know how to do to become a great singer outside of the fanfare is what is your responsibility, right? I sing, I warm up, I have a vocal coach, I practice songs that I'm great at, I practice songs that I'm not great at, I sing in public, I sing in private, I record things live, I record things in the studio, I sing things without a backing track, I sing things with a backing track, I sing. It's my life, it's my training, right? So like that can be true, and you can be doing all those things and no one can be aware of your skill. But the point is, if you know your purpose is to be great at what you do, that's not the same as imagining your purpose is to be recognized for being great at what you do. And I think that's a super important distinction, because in a capitalist, and especially a late stage capitalist culture that is also classist, sexist, racist, sizist, queerphobic, colonizing, ableist, all the ists, right? So in a society that's really supremacist, it's really important to like not imagine that your value is equal, or your purposefulness and the fulfillment of that purpose is sublimated to what people will give you for fulfilling your purpose. Because the point of fulfilling your purpose is to be living in that truth and to be in a place in your life where you are content to be present, or you at least know why you are where you are and doing what you are. So it's important that in late stage capitalism, we don't confuse worth with value, but also that we don't confuse external values with personal worth. You can be amazing and unrecognized. And something that Ifa says is that like destiny and character are not synonymous. You can have an amazing character and a shit destiny, like so many of the masters that have come to the world. And you can be, and by masters, I mean people who have mastered their humanity. People have transcended the limitations and the nihilism and the negation of their humanity to become not only more of who they are, but to embrace humanity more and to help humanity know more about what it is, okay? So like a master who comes down and is dealing with that, and I wish I was recording this on my phone because I could take it back and listen to what I was saying, because I forgot what I was just saying. But like, if you are a master, you are being who you are because it is who you are. The reward is the being of who you are. The reward is not the recognition, that can be a bonus. The reward is not the care, that can be a bonus. The reward is not even necessarily the awareness of other people. The reward is the fact that you know who you are, you know what you're doing, and you know where you've been. And that doesn't mean that you can know the entirety of your worth or value or any of those things as an island, because like an island isn't even an island, a human can't be an island. And obviously our reflection about who we are as people is determined by the fact that there are other people to reflect, or else if there was just us, what would there be reflecting on? We would just be ourselves, that would just be that. But because there are other people being themselves, we have an opportunity to sort of decide, oh, is that self more in alignment with who I want to be than this self who I am being, you know? So we were having that existential conversation, which again is that major arcana. So I think it's super, super emphasized in July that you be honest about what your purpose is, and that you recognize what your purpose is, regardless of accolades, regardless of awareness, regardless of recognition, regardless of pay, because the reward for being who you are is being present to yourself, being true to yourself, knowing that. It is not other people knowing that. It helps because we are a community. But, you know, as we get into these more polarizing times, it can get really dicey in terms of discovering our identity when we're always looking for a response. In a polarized world, the response are going to be like, so unless you want to be on that roller coaster, you're going to have to find some consistency for yourself in between what other people think and what other people want. So from the star, we go on to the opportunity obstacle. How am I helping or hurting the concern? Am I treating the concern like a stepping stone, something that leverages me and brings me up? Or am I treating it like a blockade, which is something that keeps me from being myself and stops me in my tracks? And again, we have Le Hierophant, which is diamonds, darling, diamonds. Something I bought for myself a little while ago for spiritual purposes. I bought my first diamond, making sure it was vintage, making sure that I wasn't creating any new diamond extraction, making sure that it was cleansed and all these things. It's probably one of, I mean, more than my computer, aside from my computer, probably one of the most expensive things that I own. And it was an investment for spiritual purposes for me. So let's talk about the Hierophant. So the Hierophant, okay, another major arcana card, the card that speaks to the esoteric wisdom of trusting existence. Doesn't mean always using your intuition. It doesn't mean always trusting your intuition. It doesn't mean always knowing everything, okay? But the Hierophant is like, I'm divinely supported by existence, which is why I'm here. Therefore, everything that I experience, there is a way for me to process. If I could not process something, and when I say I don't mean the version of you that you are right now. When I say I mean we're cutting out the little person body and the multiple construction papers, and we're spreading it out. And I is from day one to day last. Okay, so the I of you is all of you that you've turned out to be over the course and trajectory of your life. So the I in the Hierophant, it's like, I know that I have been put in existence for existence's purposes. Like maybe I don't know all the reasons or understand why, where, how, who, what, when, but I understand that the how, you know, and the how doesn't have to be scientific. The how is I exist because I exist, because existence exists and existence made me exist and I exist with everything that exists. So the how isn't like, and this and happened and this happened. That's the what, motherfucker, okay? The how is, am I self-aware enough to understand, have any comprehension of what is happening? The how leads into the what. So with this, the Hierophant, it's very much like, okay, I incarnated during a spicy time. It's a spicy time in humanity. And it's and I'm unsure, and there's a lot to deal with. And I don't know where humanity is going, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where Earth is going, and I don't know where existence is going. However, fancy butt, okay? However, because I exist, and existence existed me along with it, and existence is the big deal maker, deal breaker, I'm going to have faith in the fact that the thing that made everything made me, and that I have my place. And so the Hierophant at its best is not sitting around negotiating with life about whether they have a right to exist, whether people have a right to exist, whether it's okay that things are what they are. The Hierophant is sitting around thinking, okay, these things are because they are. I exist because I exist. Others exist because they exist. And this is how we have chosen to be until now. And now that I accept that and I'm not living my life in opposition to what is already present that can't be eradicated, now I get to decide, who am I to me? And not only who am I to me, but like, who do I most prefer to be in the greater picture of things, where everybody is sanctioned and co-signed to be who they prefer to be, and that everyone is making a choice about who they prefer to be along a spectrum of awareness that may be fulfilling or unfulfilling, depending on their environment, their circumstances, their relationships, their choices, and their understanding. We are all equal, okay? Like, no one is superior to anyone else and no one is inferior to anyone else. We are all equally existentially relevant, and no one who exists could realistically say otherwise, because they have no individual one of us has any idea about the infinite, unequivocal, unnumerical value of what existence is to itself, right? So like, if you don't know what existence is to itself, and existence made you to itself, then how do you know the value of something else to existence? Like, you figuring out your value. So with the Hierophant and it being diamonds, right? And here we do have some rough diamonds, which I love. And then, the polished ones. So, with this, I think it's very important to recognize, like, precious things come with time. Our understanding, our awareness of what is precious comes with time. Our understanding of what is precious comes with pressure, experience, exertion, effort, energy. And that, what is precious is decided by the era, right? By the community. So like, there are people who thought diamonds were ugly, and there are people who think, there are people who think diamonds are ugly. There are people who think diamonds are beautiful. There are people who think diamonds are worth more money than gold. There are people who think that diamonds are worth less. And it's really about understanding where you are here with July. And, we are at the midway point. We're getting halfway through this year of the chariot being like movement, momentum, playing to play, skin in the game, like being on your path, being on your way. And with July being hit with like these major arcana, I think it's a little bit of a check-in, like, okay, well, are you on your path, and are you on your way? And like, what way is that? And what path is that? And is that true to your identity as you know yourself to be? Or is that true to an identity as you knew yourself to be? Or is that true to an identity that someone else knows for you to be? And like, how willing are you to be honest about the exchange of who you were and who you are becoming? Like I say, we're always passing the baton from, we are the past lives of our future selves. So we're always passing the baton to a future version of ourselves. But if me of this second passes the baton to me of this second, who passes the baton to me of this second, it's like, if you're not going to eventually trust that process of becoming and of being, then that means that you don't have the continuity of understanding the nature of yourself, which is that you are made up of every version of yourself that has helped you become who you are today, and whatever today that is. And so if you want to negate versions of yourself that you were, or if you want to in the future invalidate versions of yourself that you become, like, you're not actually taking in the quality, the eternal quality, the timeless quality of your character, and the rock solidness, right? Like that diamondality of what you are here for and what you can be. Okay. Like, and there's nothing wrong, by the way, with being a rough diamond. It's about how you value them. So like, if you want this, maybe it's because you believe it, they're valuable. But if you want this, it could be because you believe that they're valuable in a different way, right? Like, and vice versa. You can have a diamond that costs you nothing and enjoy the shit out of it. And you can have a diamond that costs you $1 million and it bring you a lot of stress in your life. And that happens often. So 1 second, because the family is messaging me. Okay, so the advantage aversion. What about my character is helping the situation? What about my character is hurting the situation? The situation being the concern, the star, and the opportunity obstacle, the Hierophant, okay? And again, we have the 6 of Wands. And with the 6 of Wands, you know, Wands being the suit of passion, aspirations, personal development, how you see yourself in the world, in relationship to other people, right? Because Sword is me and my mind. Cups is me and my feelings, but also me and others one-on-one, my relationships with people. Pentacles is me and the earth, the physical environments. And then Wands is me and other people, the social environments, the human environments, the habitats, as we should say. We see it green tourmaline in here. So we have some green themes between the star and the 6 of Wands. And then the 6 of Wands, to me, it's like temporary. Sometimes I say temporary celebration, but to me also the 6 of Wands is like a break in the calamity. It's not necessarily like a celebration, because when you're dealing with a lot of stress and strife and there's a break, it's not going to feel positive when you've been in the negative, right? There's that spectrum of neutrality. And if you've taken any workshops with me, you know I always talk about it's not linear, so it's never positive, neutral, negative. It's not one dimensional. So then we get positive, 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 neutral, positive, negative, neutral, positive, neutral, 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 negative, right? Negative, positive, negative, neutral, negative, negative. So if you're living in a way where like you've dealt with a lot of circumstances that have been negative, 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 then when you have a break, it's not going to feel like a metronome where it's positive, positive, positive. You're not just going to ricochet to the other side, but it will feel not negative, negative, negative. So for me, the 6 of Wands is sort of finding that it's not negative, 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 and it's not positive, 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 but it's somewhere in between. And it's there to just allow for a little like reprieve or respite or like break from what we imagine is happening, could happen, will happen. And it's there to provide a little bit of relief. I think the 6 of Wands is there for a little bit of relief. So I think what's interesting, because the 5 of Wands is stressful, the 7 of Wands is stressful. That like of all the wands, the stress wands are the 5, the 7, the 8, the 9, and the 10. Okay, those motherfuckers are stress. The non-stressed wands are 2, 3, 4, and 6. And so 6 is the last of like, okay, I get to sort of assess for myself now where the pressure has formed. And I get to decide for myself now, like where I will apply pressure myself. Okay, so I think that's really important, because with the 6 of Wands being the, what about my character helps or hurts the situation? It's like you're the one applying the pressure. It doesn't mean that there aren't people there helping you or influencing you. It just means that you're the only conductor in your head co-signing what other people are trying to influence you to do. So July is really speaking to your own laurels, right? Like your own character, your own reputation. Obviously we're communal and Wands is a communal suit. So it's not always about doing it by yourself, but it's about understanding what you are doing, why you are doing it, where you are doing it, when you are doing it, so that if there is confusion and there's all these questions and people are like, what are you doing there? You're not like, I don't know, I was just with Susan. Like, no, you need to have your own reasons for doing the shit that you do. And even if your reason is, I just trust whatever Susan tells me to do because it makes me feel safer to not take responsibility for myself, then that's what you need to say. But like, that's still you. It's not because of Susan, it's because of you and your ideas about Susan. My name is not Susan, so watch what you say. And if you still need her, then be on your way. Don't wanna hear about Susan. She got nothing on me. So show some respect for the love you receive. My name is not Susan. I don't know. Whitney's been on my fucking spirit. And that is one of my favorite Whitney songs, which is one of her most underground Whitney songs. Okay. But that one goes hard. Okay. I don't even know why we were talking about Susan. All I know is that Susan knows what Susan is doing. And so you should know what you're doing. And by the way, if Susan doesn't know what she's doing, but she's leading you like she does know what she's doing, then what Susan does know what she's doing is leading you without knowing what she is doing. Okay. So the knowledge is still there. Don't imagine that ignorance is an absence of all knowledge. Ignorance is an absence of certain knowledges. But certainly there's always knowledge present, or else there'd be nothing to know. Okay. Last but not least, for you know how I am. Do 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 Okay, great. That was just to break up the monthly readers from the cards and channeling group because we're moving on to the key card. Okay, and our key card is again a place from the deck of characters, tools, and places, and you got a place, and you know what the place is, cards and channeling group, but I